Hi, I'm Michael Senoff, founder and CEO of HardToFindSeminars.com. For the last 5 years, I've interviewed the world's best business and marketing minds. Now my challenge is to build the world's largest free resource for online, downloadable audio business interviews. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and today I'm going to show you the skills you need to survive. Hi, this is Michael Senoff. Here's a recording from Barry Maher. Barry Maher wrote a definitive guide on Yellow Page advertising. He's got a book called Getting the Most from Your Yellow Page Advertising, Maximum Profits at Minimal Cost. These ideas that he's about to share with the HMA consultants will give you a good mindset of what the attitude is about the public that you'll possibly be calling on for your consulting services about Yellow Page advertising. Enjoy.
So I wrote the marketing yearbook for Prentice Hall for a couple of years, put that together, and decided to write a book on Yellow Page advertising and became the world's foremost authority on Yellow Page advertising.
Seems like your consulting probably came as a natural follow-up with your Yellow Paging. Tell me, what is the mindset of someone spending money on Yellow Pages?
Well, the mindset is they basically don't know what they're doing. Like a lot of small business people, they don't have a marketing background. They don't have a sales background. Somebody walks in off the streets and says, I'm going to bring in, lots and lots of customers here if you buy a big old ad in the Yellow Pages. And very often it can be the case. The problem is the person selling them the ad is going to spend 50 minutes selling them the biggest ad possible and 10 minutes designing an ad to put in that space that they're building.
Were you on that end selling the ads?
When I moved from my advertising specialties business into the Yellow Pages, I started out just as a sales rep. But as a sales rep, you can make extremely good money. In fact, as a sales rep, I was probably the highest compensated Yellow Page sales rep in the world at one point, and I was making as much money as I was when I had my own business.
Let me ask you, what made you successful in that? You're selling to businesses, they don't know what they're doing. What were the real appeals, the real keys that got them to spend the money on the Yellow Pages?
The key to this, as to any sale, is probably establishing trust right away. And the easiest way to establish trust is to be honest. And that's something that a lot of salespeople, a lot of marketing people seem to have trouble grasping. They think, well, I've got to have the perfect product. I've got to position myself as the perfect marketing consultant. You don't have to do that at all. You have to establish trust and then pitch what you do have.
So when you were selling Yellow Pages back then, did you really know what a good Yellow Page ad was, or did that come later?
No, I found out what a good Yellow Page ad was. Because I was going in there and I believed in the product because I'd sold against Yellow Pages for a number of years with my own business, and I trained salespeople to sell against Yellow Pages.
What do you mean, like a competing?
Well, I mean, if you're selling advertising specialties, you walk in and the first thing the retailer will tell you or the plumber will tell you is that I spend all my money on Yellow Page advertising. I don't have any money for your cups or your T-shirts or your magazines or whatever it is you're selling. So you aspire to be in the Yellow Page business. If you're selling against them, at least at that time you did.
So that was a barrier to selling your specialty advertising?
Absolutely. That was a strong barrier. It was an objection we could overcome. But still, it was almost like if you're selling cars and you're selling Yugos, you'd rather sell a Mercedes.
Let me ask you this. My consultants are going out selling marketing consulting services. Many of them will do cold calls with Yellow Page advertisers, and they want to go in and show the Yellow Page advertiser. They'll identify an ineffective Yellow Page ad and approach them and say, look, let me show you how to build your business, get more response without spending more money on Yellow Pages or by uncovering some hidden assets maybe within the ad to do better. They're going to get that resistance that you got when you were selling specialty advertising. They may say they're spending all their money in Yellow Pages.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's great, and we appreciate you spending all the money. Let me show you how to make those ads more effective, and then I can show you a few other things which, without spending any more money than you're spending right now, is going to bring you in a great return.
Were you doing cold prospecting, walking in cold, or making appointments on the phone?
Usually in those days we walked in cold.
All right, so when you said that, would they take a little bit of time and you could show them and identify how they can improve their Yellow Page advertising?
What you have to do when you go in is you have to have, as in any sales, an interest-creating remark, an opening remark, something that's going to get their attention. When I was selling advertising specialties, I'd walk in off the street and they would have seen 3, 4, 5 advertising salesmen maybe in that week, sometimes in the same day. So the first thing they'd say if they thought you were a salesman was, get out of here. And all I'd say would be something like, okay, I've got 40,000 potential prospects here. Let me show you how you can reach them. and bam, that would get their attention.
And then what'd you say?
And then I would start asking them, but first let me find out a little bit about your business to make sure it's a fit for what we're doing here. And then I talk about them. I'd ask them questions about them. I do a fact finding. People love to talk about their business. Get them talking about their business, and right away you're establishing trust. When you ask the right questions, you show that you know what you're talking about. You're also finding out the ammunition you're going to need to present your product.
It brings me to a point. A lot of people believe, how can I sell this? I don't have any experience. I don't have the credibility. And what you said is when you start asking the right questions, you start establishing trust, and you start building credibility instantly. Would you agree?
There's nothing that builds credibility like asking the right questions. Now, first of all, you have to get their at least implied consent to ask those questions, which means you have to create a little bit of interest. Once you've done that, you start asking the right questions. Right away, you know what you're talking about. The reason I later became the top Yellow Page salesman in the world, for whatever that was worth, is simply because I would go in there and I wouldn't tell them what ad they needed. I wouldn't tell them what they needed in their copy. I'd just say, okay, let me find out a little bit about your business. And then I would ask them a number of questions, which I planned before I went in there, about things that were missing from their ad, about things that I knew they were a plumber that other plumbers did, or whatever type of business they had. I had a whole list of potential copy points that they could put in their ads and things that they could put in their ads. And when I'd ask them about them, they'd realize that nobody had ever asked them about these type of things before, and they were missing from their business, missing from their ad.
So you prepared before you went in?
Absolutely.
You knew what ad they were running. Would you go for larger ads?
Because you needed it. But I would have a rationale for that. I wouldn't just say, well, you need a bigger ad because I want to sell you a bigger ad. I might go in there and say, yeah, I work in commission here. The more you spend, the more I make. But let me show you why you need to be spending more money. First question I would ask as a marketing consultant and as a Yellow Page rep was the same question. Why should somebody do business with you as opposed to the competition? Now, the interesting thing is when you ask that question as a marketing consultant, with many small businessmen, what do? You get a blank stare. So then you persist, and you ask it again, and you phrase it a little bit differently, and eventually they come up with 3 to 5 things. Now, one of the things I found was that those 3 to 5 things are almost never all in their Yellow Page ad. Sometimes none of them are in their Yellow Page ad. Just the act of doing that showed this retailer, this plumber, this chiropractor, this auto dealer, that he was going to get a better ad by listening to me than he'd ever had before. So then when I told him they needed a bigger ad, if that was the case, I had massive credibility.
Yellow Pages, how often are they printed? When you went into a potential prospect, did you know it was going to be time for them to renew, or would the sales cycle sometimes be 6 months, 7 months, 8 months until the new Yellow Pages came out?
Well, it might be 6 months, 7. It'd never be less than 4 in those days because it took that long to get the directories printed and out in the street. But it would be renewal time. The renewal time might be 6, 7, 8 months before the directory stops.
If my consultants can go out there and generate interest through Yellow Page advertising and educate that Yellow Page advertisers some of the big 10 commandments of Yellow Page advertising, could we talk about a couple of them? Sure. The first commandment, thou shalt not whip it up.
Yeah, and that's a real key point. It's the point I made a little bit earlier. What happens here is the Yellow Page reps very often have no background in advertising. I at least had a number of years running my own advertising company. I had a lot of experience in marketing and education in marketing at that point. So I had a background. Most of these people have nothing more than a sales background. Even if they do have some background in design and advertising, they spend 50 minutes of their 1-hour appointment or an hour and a half appointment trying to sell that advertiser on a bigger ad and 10 minutes designing the ad. So this is absolutely, as your marketing consultants know, absolutely not the way to do marketing.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.